IKONINI. So one of the stories nilikuwa na follow up on Mazingira Day, ama vile most of us grew up knowing it as Moi Day. Ilikuwa hii story moja like kunaka ka twif. Sikuwa najua kana happen, but kuna twif fulani inaendelea katikati ya Miguna na Morara. And one thing about Miguna is, I've talked about Miguna hapa nikisema that I don't think Miguna would make a good politician. He'd make a very good leader if he could get leadership position, because I actually believe Miguna believes in this country, najua, and I think he knows that a lot can be done if we were just a little bit honest. But on the other side pia namjuaga that the probability of him becoming this leader that we think he'd be is next to impossible, because he does not understand politics, because politics on the other side is this thing of give and take. And with politics you have to know when to shut up and you have to know when to talk. And Miguna is the sort of person ule mufil ni kama hajuagi when to shut up. Alafu pia yeye mwenyewe kuna time aonagi flaws zake, because every human has their own flaws and you have to be able to identify your flaws. And one of the flaws za Miguna ni one minute he'll come as your friend, and then the next minute when you make him your enemy he's going to spill all the secrets. And that's the reason why aliandika kitabu kama Peeling Back the Mask. Alafu pia sulimcheki vile alibaki amerushwa nje zile siku za I'm not boarding. So kuna say maybe wajui your story, hiyo ni ile time alikuwa narushwa nje ni kama anakuwa deported, and he's a Kenyan citizen, so he was deported back to Canada. And hiyo time of course now akatry kurudi Kenya and he could not come back to Kenya, and this is one of the reasons why I feel like mse kama Matiang'i pia ana represent impunity, because he's one of the people who stopped Miguna from coming back to Kenya. But go back to Miguna, so he's thrown back, ama he's anarushwa back to Canada, alafu akaishi huko, alafu he could not come back when Uhuru was president, but he ended up coming back ile time sasa nani Ruto alikuwa president. And one of the things that he did was, even during the elections he was campaigning for Ruto, so he was one of the people walikuwa Kenya kwanza. Then as soon as the Gen Z protests zilikam, hawezi jua that this was someone who was campaigning for Ruto. Like hiyo ni kama hiyo digital footprint, I think he's even deleted it. And right now he's fighting Ruto, and he's fighting Ruto kabisa, but I don't have any problem with that. And the only thing na feeligi ni kama ni mse uwezi trust. Mse kama Miguna ni mse tukikaa naye chini hapa saizi na tunatry kudu kitu yote, nitakuwa 50-50, nitakuwa like if this doesn't go well, how is he going to react? Is he going to tell people my darkest secrets and what? But yeah, tukuwa tunaongea juu ya like hizo secrets za Miguna ama how he is. Nikuwa nataka kubonga juu ya hii beef yake na Morara. So vile nimesema Miguna ni mse sasa nimemwona akiattack Raila, nimemwona akiattack Uhuru. Yeye ndio mse alifanyaga nikabaki nimejua jina despot. Before Miguna I'd never heard the word despot. Yeye ndiye alikuwa anaitaga wawasi wawili anaitwa Ruto na Uhuru, alikuwa anaitaga despots. Wacha tuangalie jo na despot, a ruler or other person who holds absolute power, typically one who exercises it in a cruel or oppressive way. So mse alikuwa anapendaga kuita sana Uhuru na Ruto despots, but somehow during the elections of course he started campaigning for alafu akabaki amekuja Kenya, alafu I don't know what happened, but at some point akabaki amerudi kwao. Okay, akarudi Canada, but this was after the infamous interview alifanyaga kwa Obina, but hii time ilikuwaga before the protest, so he went back and now the protest started, and he joined Gen Z na akakuja kwa side yetu. So apparently amekuwa akibeef na Morara na siku anajua. So what ended up happening is he ended up I think Morara at some point ended up blocking him, and so ye mwenye alikuwa anasema that yuko happy that ama happy in quotes that Morara amemwanblock. So kila natry kuunderstand ni Morara alimblock kwa nini. Unajua hapo ni kitu moja ile nizataka kuunderstand, but from the few tweets ile nimecheki tayari ameshaanza kurefer to Morara as a conman. And this is what I was saying about him. The reason why waga spendi story yake niyo story ya yuko sana na kila mtu. and hii kukosana na kila mtu at some point it's not a good thing. I always say that if you fight with one person, the problem might be that person. If you fight with everyone, then the problem must be you. Yes, but in the same thing lazima in the same thing lazima pia tuangalie Morara na tuangalie maybe blanda kadhaa zile amemake. But ukigo through nini za umse utanotice like on 13th of September alisemanga I endorse 100% go Morara viva Ruto must go. Alafu ilikuwa ile story ya stop Adani. So that's one of the things that aliandika that was on the 13th of September. And then I think by the 20th of September hapo I think alikuwa ameanza kudoubt Morara alisema nini, ilikuwa kuna msanii Babylonian alisema cook me but Morara is starting to sound like Ruto. Then Miguna kabaki ame reply true. He even quoted stroke emulated Ruto by saying lie consistently until people doubt their truth. Let him name the person who donated the house in Kahawa Sukari before we begin examining other questionable stuff. Morara now sounds like a sophisticated NIS infiltration, and his protege Ruto, the rash, stealth, and sheer individualism are all anti-revolutionary. He even declared that his aim is to become a billionaire, not to fight for freedom. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if he's ever said that his aim is to become a billionaire. But now tukikam to stories of Morara waga sensitive because I was one of the people who was asking for like a Gen Z leader. And one of the things about Gen Zs ile nimekam kudiscover is with Gen Zs you are always right, and that's a very dangerous thing to tell a leader, that you are always right. That's why if msekam inaweza kaa hapa chini na ni criticize Ruto, I can also sit down and criticize your leader. And with one of the things, of course, the most infamous one ile mlinibash kabisa nikisema the call never happened. Mlicheki pia nilikuwa na nani hapa anaitwa Mijungu hapa akasema the call never happened, but the call is a non-issue. What's an issue is what has happened majuzi. So majuzi, of course, last week akabaki amepigwa ikiwa kwa zile stories za Bomas. So after kupigwa na stories za Bomas, which I said was he was making moves that it's because he didn't have advisors, people to tell him that hey, you're dealing with criminals, and since you're dealing with criminals you need to do 1, 2, 3 things. So when that happened, alibaki amedo a certain post that I found to be disturbing, because you notice say ajui that when you start doing this, that's how you kill all the goodwill that you have. And these are the things that people need to advise you on and tell you, like, if you're doing these things, you're going to kill all the goodwill. The people who don't know like mentality of humans are going to lie to you that everything you're doing is okay, it's okay. But I think ile kitu ile happen ni alibaki amepost akasema that after like hiyo ni kitu ile happen kwake, he's trying to set up like a new security system, and he needs money from people, but he's not going to account for it. Don't put your last line, I'm not going to account for it. Just write the post, una need money, alafu iachia hapo. Because the minute umembea say hauta account for it, watu wanaweza fikiria you are feeding your addictions, because we all have addictions. Yes, some people are addicted to alcohol, some people are addicted to cars, some people like mimi nakuwaga addicted to electronics. So yes, maybe I want a new iPad, I want a new speaker, I want a new, so these are the things zile haufai kusema. But sasa in the process on Sunday alibaki ametweet akatweet not on Sunday, sahau jo mazingira day, alibaki ametweet I never kick a man when he's down. Hello Rigathi, you have a missed call from me. I believe you have a lot of information that can help me in my vampire diaries. Would you like to share this info? In this tweet makes sense, but politically it's a dangerous statement. So how does it make sense? Right now Gachagua is very angry, and we need Gachagua to tell us where the bodies are hidden, ama the bodies are buried. So we need that from Gachagua. But it's also dangerous because ukisema unataka kumit Gachagua, now kuna watu wataanza kusema ama umse amelipwa na Gachagua fight Ruto. So ukiangalia through the comments utateki kuna msanii Chief Disruptor alikuwa ameandika, one blunder you can be excused, but bro, your blunders are now looking way intentional. Are you working for someone? Did you all of a sudden get where you are because a path was made for you? Are you attacking the president because you are asked to? So that happened. Then mse kama Ombachi akabaki amemwenjoy, every day you keep cutting the branch you're sitting on, na pia akabaki ameshare hiyo nini. So and how Morara alibaki ame reply all this was like a Gen Z, and Gen Zs are never wrong, and niko sure hata saa hizi watakuwa wamejam hapa kwa comments because they are never wrong, it's either their way or the highway. So akabaki amereply akasema, tips on how to survive on X as a young emerging leader: identify your values, stick to them. The cancel culture on X is dangerous, it can kill your spirit. They will platform and deplatform you several times. It's nothing personal, they have been through so much pain and they have PTSD. Whatever he's doing is called gaslighting. Najua ile where you shift the blame. Alafu akasema they also have trust issues, understandably from how many times they've been lied to. In the comments they'll insult you, in the DMs they'll show you love. If you raise funds they'll say you're a con, but if you check your M-Pesa they'll have sent you something. Consistency, stay in the fight. So hii ni another mistake. Always accept when you've made a mistake, and there's nothing wrong with that. Kwambia say like, oh, okay, nini usi gaslight wase, usifanye wase wa feel ni kama you are always right. Remember ile kitu nilisema juu ya Miguna is always right, chiki like every time. Like mimi nilicheki ele yangu nikasema, did the call happen? No. Should I have released a video talking about the call not happening? No. So I released the video, but considering the atmosphere and what was going on in Kenya, that was the wrong time to release. So that's a mistake moja nishaikubali. Another mistake ingine nishaikubali ni of course ile time end up tuko na beef na Kibe, cause what happened was he messed up. Like a lot of YouTube channels were being demonetized at that time, akina Fresh and Fit and what. So mseka mimi I saw it coming, like hii kitu inaenda ku happen. Talked to producer wake anaitwa Eric Oyugi, and then hiyo ika happen. So when it happened, of course nikabonga juu yake nikasema like, I saw this coming, but nilidu when his wounds were still fresh. So that's why he reacted the way he reacted. Nacheki, because if you've just lost an income ya kitu kama 2 million shillings, you don't want someone to tell you I told you so. You're going to take it personal. So I understand also. So we all make mistakes. So in hindsight, of course, nikakamka cheki, that video should have been released months later. Ile time ashatulia ashanini. But sometimes pia sisi wase tunafanya content, we want to talk about something when it's just happened, and with that comes the fear and the whatever of kuumiza watu feelings. But hii ni ya Miguna versus Morara. What I can say is Morara still ana need kustudy wase kama Peter Kenneth, apart from Peter Kenneth wa Jakoya. And with that is people will hype you on the internet, and people will make you feel like you're already there, like uko level ya kina Ruto, kina Raila nini, but in reality you're not. That's why, and when people now like me tell you that, itakuwa umseni hater. And ukigo kwa comments za nani, like one of the tweets za Morara utabaki umecheki kuna time aliandika vile yuko na a lot of followers, but when he was arrested he saw only 30 people. Because these followers that you have online, they are not followers. Sisi kama IKONINI, we have like how many? I think right now tunaenda 140,000 subscribers. Now out of this 140,000 subscribers, on average every video does maybe 20-25,000. So what happens to these other 125,000? Because those are not, kuna watu wanakufuata but they are never engaged. Then you have that core base that's engaged with you, like wale wase watakuwa na wewe full time. So lazima ubaki umeunderstand that hizi ni, alafu pia ukifanya wasewa feel ni kama they owe you something, like ati since I'm doing this you owe showing up for me, you owe. People have their own lives, and this is something that also maybe younger people need to realize, that people have their own lives, people have their own struggles, people have like a lot of stuff that they are dealing with. So you might think that since I'm doing this for all of you, you need to be there for me, but life does not work that way. Unapata ile time wewe you're dealing with this, uko police station, kuna msee at that point amerealize he has a disease ye mwenyewe, like a terminal disease, cancer, cause cancer ushikagasi. Kuna msee mwingine bado ana struggle na maybe rent ya hiyo mwezi. Kuna msee hajui atakula nini jioni, but yuko na internet, cause also that happens. So everyone is going through their struggle. So you should never look at numbers zile you have on social media and expect that when something happens to you, these numbers will be there. No, they won't be. And as I keep saying, look at Peter Kenneth. Peter Kenneth alikuwa amechochwa na madem, especially vile alikuwa ati a handsome dude. Unajuaga Africa tumekuwa, what is it called, like so colonized that madem wetu automatically associate light skin with handsome. So alikuwa amechochwa sana. I don't know which election this was. Was it 2017? I think kama 2013, one of those. Alikuwa amechochwa. 2022 lichekiwa Jakoya vile alikuwa amechochwa. You have to know hizi vitu zote. And when someone tells you this, they are not attacking you, they are not trying to crush your dream, they're just telling you this is the reality, that Kenya is still the same Kenya. That's why ukicheki saizi vile Gachagua ametolewa, if you see the videos that are coming from Central, it's mostly people who are very angry, because watu wanashindwa ni aje mtu wetu, kwa nini mtu wetu ametolewa? And this mtu wetu syndrome, a lot of people will dismiss it, but I always give the reasoning that never forget that Kenya started as the British East African Company. This was a company, this was not a country. So it's white people that decided it starts here and ends here. So all these tribes were brought together and they had nothing in common. So right now it's when we are trying to find what we have in common. But there are people wale ni Waluya, wale wangekuwa Ugandans, kuna Wajaga wangekuwa Ugandans, kuna notice like all these things were happening. So this is the other example I normally give ni ukiangalia family kama ya Mudiawori, where half of the Mudiawori family is Ugandan and the other half is Kenyan. So you have to know that this country was created by the British, it was created by white people. So it's going to take us time as a nation to come together as a nation. And we need a leader that's going to unite us. We know that leader is not Ruto. Because Ruto appointments zake zimekuwa very tribal. Hata majuzi nilichekia. Don't know if it's the new FKF someone. I think you understand, like hii time ya Ruto it's been horrible. But this is what I'd say. Like nikiangalia hizi story za Morara na feel kama uni msana need advice, alafu pia na need kuambiwa that never, what is it called, I don't know how to put this politely, but never overestimate yourself. Usiwahi acha wasee wa kuchoche kwa internet. Watu wa internet watakuchocha sana, and I've seen this even with content creators. Ile watu sana kuchocha na kuambia rada usifanye hivi, kill that source of income, we'll be there for you, we'll subscribe, never happens. Reality kwa ground ni very different. The same way wasona shinda wakiniambia that saizi politics zimechange, and since politics zimechange, mse kama Ruto has zero chance, no one is going to like vote along tribal lines, blah blah blah. That won't work. Like people will still vote along tribal lines. And kuna watu wengine pia wanataka tuambie that there's going to be this mysterious leader who comes from the moon, who all of a sudden won't need a tribal base to push him over the line. That also won't work. When you tell people this, get their feelings hurt and what, but you have to tell people the truth. So yes, if you're Miguna versus Morara, of course I'd look at it from Miguna is the wrong messenger, but does he have a message? And the message is, do I think that Morara is a conman? No, I don't think he's a conman. Do I think he's making a lot of blunders politically? Yes. Have I ever been involved in politics? No, but I think I understand the game. Like when you start tweeting na kuambia say when nipatie do but I won't account for it, it brings a certain level of entitlement, and that's, you don't want that. Alafu pia usisahau tuko 2024. Tuko 2024. If you start asking for money in 2024, what are you going to be doing by 2027? Learn from Akina Hanifa. Akina Hanifa, they did not even handle the money themselves. Ikuenenda Mchanga. Hanifa was accused of driving a Prado. Boni was accused of doing what? we ukifanya contributions zina go through your personal PayPal, zina go through your personal account, na zina go through your personal phone number. So what do you think people are going to do to you for 3 years? You're going to lose all the trust, all the goodwill, and everything. On top of that, if you become the force that you expect to be, your M-Pesa will be blocked. Sahau serikali ni serikali. Akaunti yako iko NCBA. Sahau vile Ruto anachukia Uhuru. So akianza kuambia NCBA that nyinyi ndio mna fund me to be ousted, what's going to happen? And so look at all these things and don't be like the people you represent. A leader always has to be more mature than the people they represent. The people you represent don't want you to be wrong. They want you to be right 100% all the time. No one is right all the time. People make mistakes. So you can make these mistakes and you can learn from them. One of the things is, mi mwenye nakuwaga very tech savvy. And I know one thing I can tell you for sure is there is no security system that can save you from the Kenya police. That there is no security system. They control what. So you being arrested had nothing to do with your security system na vitu kama hizo. And this is what I say, that a lot of people won't tell you, mi nitasema alafu nitatukanwa, mwafu ni hater, blah 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 blah. So hiyo si priority. Saizi priority nimecheki hata Miguna mwenyewe, even when he was criticizing you, alikuwa anakuambia go back to doing the Vampire Diaries. I'd say that instead of, because I saw Miguna Morara kwa sema he wants to take a break then come back. Yes, take the break. After you take don't take the break. Continue doing Vampire Diaries. Take a little break from the whole political thing. Take a break from kuitisha or say do for some time, and then see what happens uko mbele, then uzarudi now with the political side and what. So that would be my 2 cents about it. But still, as I said, the messenger is not someone I respect. Okay, I respect them, but it's not someone I trust. And Miguna is just I don't know. Do I feel like Miguna would make a very good leader? If Miguna by accident became the Kenyan president, Kenya would go very far. If he became the Kenyan governor of Nairobi, Kenya would go very far. But will he ever get there? I don't think atakuwa there. Najua. So yes. And Nini, still tukimalizia na history ya Morara alafu na story ya Rigathi. The government of Kenya accused Rigathi of funding the Gen Z protests. So if you invite Rigathi, it not only affects his case that he needs to argue on Thursday, but it also makes us look bad as people who went out on the streets and protested. Because in kasisi wote tulienda huko juu ya Rigathi Gachagua, because we are trying to overthrow the government. So these are all the things that you have to think about. Sometimes you're trying to do a good thing, but you do it in the wrong way. And that was one of those. So now, as I keep saying, this thing, we make mistakes and we learn from them. And no one is against anyone. But as I always say, mwenye jicheki and learn from your mistakes. And also learn to take insults. You insult your everyday hapa. So insult you, say you don't have to gaslight them and make them look like nyinyi ndio amwelewi, mimi ndio naelewa zizi. Sometimes just let people have their way with it. Najua kama mimi vile nimesema, kama ime hurt feelings zako, jiachilia hapo kwa comments. Ikonini.